Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host, as always, Ryan, and today we are doing a special preview and predictions for AEW Dynamite / Collision Holiday Bash. Yes, that's right. We have Dynamite and Collision back to back. They run together as a 3-hour special. It's going to be actually live from Manchester. Well, not live on TV, but it's going to be in Manchester, England. Triller is still going to play at early hours tomorrow morning over here. Unfortunately, we're not getting a live showing, so it's not going to be a live feed from the venue. It's going to be taped. But obviously, if you're in the UK and you are in Manchester, you can get there. I believe the doors open at 5:30, with the show starting about 6. So, unfortunately, it's too far for me to be able to travel and go see. But I'll be watching tomorrow morning, same as the rest of the world. Tomorrow afternoon. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on the card, and we have a contract signing. So it's stacked like a pay-per-view. This, I mean, if it was any other company, this should be a pay-per-view card. But because it's AEW, they put on obviously fantastic matches, especially for these special episodes of Dynamite that they do. We've seen obviously the Halloween ones that they do, the Thanksgiving ones that they do. You know, there's so many different special episodes of Dynamite that they've done over the course of the year, and they've definitely outdone themselves here. Obviously, the Continental Classic is ongoing at the minute, so that is going to continue tonight. And we have 3 matches from the Continental Classic, 2 from the Blue League and 1 from the Gold League. So do you know what? I think we're going to start with that. We're going to start with Continental Classic match. So we'll look at Jon Moxley versus Roderick Strong. Obviously, these two faced a few weeks back when Darby Allin helped Roderick Strong pick up the victory going into the Blood and Guts match. Jon Moxley obviously has not been in great form lately. He's only won 1 match so far in the Continental Classic. That was against Masquerade in his opening match. But on the flip side, Roddy is 0 for 2. He's not won any of his matches yet in the Continental Classic. So to be honest here, both these guys desperately need a win. Like I say, we have 1 on 3 points and 1 on none. So obviously this will be Mox's 4th match and Roderick's 3rd. And as you know, we've seen obviously Mox be quite susceptible to submission moves. He doesn't like being put in submissions anymore and taps quite early, which obviously works in Roderick Strong's favour. You know, he's quite a technical wrestler. He knows quite a few submission holds, so it'll be interesting to see just how well he does against Mox. But I'm sorry to say, I fully back Jon Moxley to pick up the victory here. I mean, as well as all well and good, this whole story obviously is of Mox having a weakness that we've not seen before, and you know, the potential that he could be replaced as the leader of the Death Riders and so on and so forth. But really, he needs to be at least picking up a couple of victories along the way. We've seen him beat Masquerade, and I believe, in my mind anyway, that he should be beating Roderick Strong also. So I'm putting Jon Moxley down for the win in match number 1. So we'll move on next to another Continental Classic match, and it's Masquerade versus Orange Cassidy. So obviously, like I say, Masquerade did lose his first match against Jon Moxley, but then had a surprising victory against Claudio Castagnoli. So both these guys have 1 win. They have 1 loss, 1 win. So this is both their 3rd matches. And you know what, I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a really good match. Orange Cassidy, we know, can have great matches with pretty much anyone on the roster. You know, we've seen him in the main events. We've seen him like challenge for a world title. We've seen him obviously at a fantastic run as international champion. And then we see Masquerade, especially over the last couple of months, has really stepped up and looked something special since working with AEW. So I think it's going to be a hard one to call, to be fair. I think it's a good 50-50. Like I say, obviously, Masquerade is just coming off the victory, a surprise and upset against Claudio, so it's hard to back against him. But then again, Orange Cassidy, we know, is a really, really good wrestlers. See, this is the thing with the Continental Classic, unlike other tournaments we've seen from other companies of late, where it's predictable from the get-go. Literally anyone can win any match any one time. We've seen Kyle Fletcher lose to Speedball Mike Bailey, which was a shock. We've seen, like you say, Claudio lose to Master Dorado, which was a shock. We've seen Mox lose to Cardio, which was a shock. There's already been so many shocking updates. It's not like we're running a tournament knowing full well that Gunther's going to win, but never mind. I find this one a hard one to pick, to be fair, but I'm gonna back Orange Cassidy. I think Orange Cassidy picks up the victory and moves on to 6 points. So that brings us to the third match in the Continental Classic, and it's the only one from the Gold League this week. It is the Proto-Star Kyle Fletcher, and he'll be taking on the Bastard Pac. This could potentially be the match of the night. Could well be match of the tournament so far. I've got a lot of time for both these guys. They're both really, really good in-ring wrestlers, And then you've got Kyle Fletcher, who has 2 victories, one against Kazuchika Okada as well, and then a surprising upset against Speedball last week. Pac obviously only has the 1 victory. Pac has had 1 less matches. This is Pac's 3rd match and Kyle Fletcher's 4th. Obviously, there's 3 on 6 points at the moment in the Gold League. You have Okada, Mike Bailey, and Kyle Fletcher. They're all on 6. And then we've got Kevin Knight and Pac on 3. And of course, the late edition of Jungle Boy just on 0. I find this one is going to be a hard one. Like, Kyle Fletcher obviously had 2 back-to-back victories, especially against Kazuchika Okada. But then now we've got Pac, who did he beat Speedball? He beat Speedball, didn't he? Do you know what? Like, see, the thing is, if Pac wins, that puts 4 guys on 6 points in the 3rd match, because this should be Pac's 3rd match, and the others have already had their 3rd matches, so that'll put 3 on 2 wins and 1 loss, and on 6 points. But if Kyle Fletcher wins, that puts him on 9 points and top of the league. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Pac for this. I feel like, I feel like Pac's going to pick up the victory and we're going to get a level across the board. I feel like we may get a multi-man semi-final like we did in the very, very first Continental Classic. So I'm picking Pac for the victory. So up next, we look at the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale. So normally we have the Battle Royale and the winner then faces MJF in a singles match, where they'll challenge, obviously, MJF for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, which, of course, he won in the very, very first one and has successfully defended it every year since. So it'd be interesting to see what they do this year. Like, don't forget, MJF already has in his back pocket a shot at the AEW World Championship. Could we see him go on and retain the Diamond Ring and then challenge for the AEW World Championship, or could we see him lose the Diamond Ring? I mean, to be honest with you, like, it's been a good gimmick for MJF for, what is it now, 4 years? I feel like it's time to move on, maybe from MJF having the Diamond Ring. I mean, I probably said this last year, to be honest, but I don't feel like he needs it anymore as like a crutch, because obviously he's used it many, many times to pick up victories. I mean, it does suit him, but I'd like it to be someone different this year. Obviously, we've already got confirmed entrance into the Battle Royale, which is Ricochet. Obviously, he's the AEW National Champion, and you've got both former Acclaimed members and Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. You've got Shelton Benjamin. Obviously, Bobby's injured, but Shelton is still in it. And then you've got Brody King as well, with obviously a lot more to be announced and possibility of maybe a return. Like, I'd love Jay White to return and win this, but obviously I've been calling for Jay White to return for a couple of months. Doesn't look like he'll be back just yet. He said early 2026, same with Ospreay. So just, I mean, it's wide open. So many people could win or lose. If Hangman or Swerve hadn't have been obviously already getting a shot at the World's End pay-per-view, I'd have picked either one of them that wasn't already in the match to win the Diamond Ring, but obviously they're both in it. So just out of the names, I'm picking, I don't know, either Brody King or Shelton Benjamin. Sure, I'm gonna back Shelton Benjamin. I think we get Shelton Benjamin, and then we get Shelton Benjamin versus MJF in the final, which obviously throws back to their short stint together as the Hurt Syndicate. So, like I say, we have the World Championship match. It's happening at World's End. It's Samoa Joe, and he's defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against former two-time AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page, and of course, former AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland. So, I'm really interested to see what they do with this match. I fully expect Swerve and Hangman to take Samoa Joe out and then go after each other, which will probably cost one of them, with Samoa Joe coming out on top, because he's only defended it once so far, which was against Eddie. Was it last week, the week before? But it'll be interesting to see what happens with this contract signing, because obviously we've seen Hangman and Swerve working together to try and take out the Ops. We've seen them team together last week as a tag team, obviously again to try and take out the Ops. Both guys have said they'll come for Samoa Joe and they'll come for the AEW World Championship. So I'm very, very interested to see how this contract signing is going to go. Is it going to look like they're going to team together to take out Samoa Joe? Maybe they'll form an alliance tonight, with them saying, obviously, no matter which one of us wins, someone has to take the belt from them. Or will they both state their claim to why they should be the AEW World Champion? So, yeah, looking forward to that. All eyes on the contract signing tonight. Could this stipulation be added, maybe? So up next, we have an 8-woman tag team match. This is obviously from the fallout of the AEW Women's First Ever Blood and Guts match. This is a fallout from the AEW tag team champions being crowned. The women's tag team champions were crowned last week. That was Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, the Babes of Wrath. They are the AEW tag team champions, and they are teaming with their opponents of last week, which is the Timeless Love Bombs, which is obviously Timeless Toni Storm and Mina, and they will face Maria Shafir, Megan Bain, who obviously tag team together in the tournament, Athena and Mercedes Moné. So it'll be an interesting one. Obviously, this is going to continue the storyline that they've built around the AEW Women's Tag Team titles. To be honest, I don't think it really matters which set of team win. I think it'll be a good match anyway to see, and maybe we'll get a bit more storyline coming out the back end of it. To me, I'm going to say I feel like the faces should really pick up the victory, considering they've got the newly crowned AEW Tag Team Champions on their side. But I'd expect to see Sisters of Sin and Tekla at some point, the triangle. So up next, we have the return of the Elite in a winner-takes-all trios match for the $1 million. That is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks finally teaming back together again, and they are taking on Don Callis' family of Hechicero, Kazuchika Okada, and Konosuke Takeshita. So obviously these have teamed quite a lot lately, and they've failed to pick up a victory. Obviously they faced the three members of the Ops, which was Hawk, Powerhouse, and Shibata, and they failed to pick up the victory, and they failed to work together when they faced for the AAA Trios Tag Team Championships that Hechicero was desperate to get his hands on. And then obviously Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have not teamed together for years. They've been opponents over the last couple of years. Obviously the Young Bucks treated Kenny like crap for a good few years, kicking him out of the Elite, and the story that went with that. But that it doesn't matter how long you keep the Elite apart. We've tag teamed that many times over that many different years for that many different promotions. And obviously Takeshita and Okada cannot get on the same page right now. They can't stand each other. So you've got to back the Elite to pick up the victory and then start pushing on towards getting a shot at those AEW Trios Championships. So then the last match to look at on the card is the AEW Men's Tag Team Championships. That is the current champions FTR, and they will be facing against the Bang Bang Gang members of Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn. And if you were around Manchester yesterday, you may well have met Austin and Juice. Let me know in the comments if you did go and see them, what they were like. I have seen some pictures online. It looked like it was pretty cool. Obviously, we have FTR as the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Obviously, winning the tag belts a couple of months ago, and they'll be facing the last team to pin them, I believe, which was obviously the Bang Bang Gang. Juice and Austin, they are facing for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I really enjoyed Juice and Austin as a tag team, to be fair. I feel like they've got really good chemistry. I'm really enjoying this run that they're on at the minute. And of course, they are facing against the legendary, one of the greatest tag teams in the history of professional wrestling, FTR, who obviously are the current champions, and I would expect that to stay the same. I can't imagine Juice and Austin taking the belt off them, especially so soon, especially with the chance of FTR versus Cope and Cage when they do return for those AEW Tag Team Championships. Maybe they return tonight. Imagine that. I think the roof would blow off if Adam Copeland, if his music hit tonight at the end of this show, or at the end of the Holiday Bash, and then set up World's End for the AEW Tag Team Championships. That would be the dream scenario, is Cope and Cage versus FTR at World's End. So there you have it. That is my full preview and predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comment section below, and as always, please don't forget to give us a like, drop us a comment, and of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Wrestling Group today.